social media, on their phones, on their laptops, on iPads. We are totally dysfunctional. Are there solutions to that so that we're able to manage these factors that you have mentioned in the family setup?
Today's family, they are raised without a vision. A family is like any company that has to have a vision.
Welcome back, our viewer. We've discussed a lot in this session, and a few recaps. We realized that each individual is unique, and we come from a family of origin, and we are a product of this family where we are coming from. There are factors that are also affecting us. We've highlighted on that, and each family needs to have a vision. And there is hope, regardless of what that is happening. There is hope. Mr. Makinda, you've told us there is hope. Explain to us about the hope.
Thank you, Regina. Perhaps before I elaborate on hope, let me say primarily a human being can be divided into several elements. One, there is the physical body, there's spiritual component of us, then there's a psychological aspect of a human being. We can talk about many other aspects of an individual, but let's focus on this primarily.
Okay.
Now, when somebody, because all of us sometimes we become sick in one way or another. If you become sick spiritually, then you need to seek for the assistance of a pastor.
True.
If your body becomes sick, then you can look for a medical doctor.
Yes.
But if you become psychologically sick, whom do you see? You must be able to see a counselor, a psychologist, a therapist. This is the area that many of us don't understand in Africa or in Kenya for that matter. If in other countries whereby counseling has been fully developed, even there is the National Hospital Insurance Fund for each of those countries supports counseling as part of the treatment of a human being. But today here, I think the Kenyan government only supports a bit about alcoholism.
Yes.
But I hope and pray that we reach in a stage whereby counseling is considered as part of the healing process, the treatment for individuals within the society. Because as we go on and as issues become more complex in society, many of us are suffering from psychological problems, not even physical problems, leave alone spiritual issues. So if our government can look at that aspect and come up with a plan on how to deal with issues on psychological challenges that many people are facing. You look at the issue of stress.
Yes.
Research has shown that many people in the hospitals are suffering primarily from stress. Up to around 70%.
Oh.
Those people who are hospitalized
might
be suffering from the root cause of stress. Now, stress is an issue that can be addressed both by medics, by pastors, and psychologists. But if you look at that, psychologists and counselors are perhaps nowhere to be seen. So this is where perhaps we need to put a lot of emphasis. The reason being, every single day that we interact, that we act, that we behave in a particular way, those actions that we do, those behaviors gives us a feedback, either as a positive or a negative. And when it is a negative, it brings some level of anxiety. Anxiety can lead into stress. Stress can lead into depression. Then depression can lead to many other factors, even suicide. So, but we are saying that our community needs to be able to recognize that there is a service that can make them to be more fully functional, so that they can be able to access a full life and be able to be fully functional within their society. The challenge I normally see in most of our people is that they believe that once you have money, you are financially stable, that is the solution to everything. No. Finances, money, richness, success, financial stability, or whatever you can call it, does not bring harmony in the house. Does not stop you not being able to achieve your goals. It is important that we incorporate the whole aspect of a human being. Allow or equip pastors to be able to understand a bit of psychology, so that as they pastor their congregation, they are able to understand their dynamics in terms of behavior.
Let me interject.
Yes.
I'm looking at a scenario like this. When you tell somebody go see a counselor, they think going to see a counselor or a psychologist or a therapist, you must be mentally sick. Maybe you can explain to us so that we're able to understand the real role of a counselor, so that when we look at a counselor, we're not looking at somebody who is, you're not actually judging yourself that you're mentally sick, but you're seeking for help so that you become a whole person, the 4 facets that you've talked about. So explain to us who a counselor is, what a counselor does. Yes.
Life puts a lot of pressure on each individual in the process of living, such that you find you are squeezed, or as in your growth, there are some things or gaps in your life. So these gaps or these demands on you as an individual puts a lot of pressure that sometimes you are not able to access your full potential as an individual. So what does counseling do? Counseling acts as a mirror. It helps you to see the areas that you need to work on. It allows you to identify the potentials that you have which you are not being able to access.
I want you to repeat that. Kindly repeat it so clearly so that somebody out there doesn't think a counselor is only for the mentally sick. Yes. Kindly emphasize on that point.
Okay.
Yes.
As a result of the pressures of living, as a result of the demands that put on us, and sometimes as a result of how we were growing up, we were never given adequate preparation. Therefore, it means that we sometimes are not able to fully attend and utilize the resources that we have inside us. So a counselor does not deal with the people who are mentally sick. In fact, people with mental sickness are addressed by psychiatrists.
Okay.
So a counselor will allow you, will act like a mirror, to be able for you to see your full potential, areas that you need to work on, areas that you want to be a better person in. Because in us, every single day, we should work to be better people. So counselors help each individual to be able to be a better person.
Be able to be a better person.
Yes.
So it means, as much as I'm thinking of whole, there are issues that need to be dealt with. And a counselor can be able to put things into perspective so that I become more productive.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are not born perfect people. We are born with a lot of challenges. We grow up in different unique places. And these unique places that we grow in limit our abilities to be able to achieve our goals. And therefore, a counselor's work is to enable you to understand the areas that you need to work on, to understand the areas of weakness that you have, to understand how you can be able to achieve your goals. When you put all this, therefore what I can say without any fear of contradiction is that each individual, rich, poor, middle class, requires the services of a counselor. If we do that, then we can facilitate a lot of growth within ourselves, within our family, and our children. And this country will better be a better place to live in. Yes.
What platforms can be used so that counselors, there's a lot of awareness out there about counseling services? Because we realize we've really concentrated so much on COVID-19, and we've seen even the government's really trying hard about counseling and all that. But what milestones so that we feel the effect? We're still not feeling the effect of counselors in this country.
That's a big issue in this country. And as counselors and psychologists, we have tried to really fight hard for the government to realize and incorporate counseling services at every level of society. my dream, let alone even there's an act in Parliament which has been there and actually is rotting, which has not been actually implemented.
Since 2014?
Yes. That shows how ignorant our leaders understand who is a human being. They feel like a human being is only a physical body. The other parts of the human being, the psychological part, the spiritual part, the social part, and all that, the intellectual aspect of a human being are not important. And therefore they have completely ignored the services which are very critical, the mind, which controls everything a human being does. So, my prayer is that the government, the policy makers, at different level, at the national level, at the county level, at the sub-county level, at the division level, should be able to understand who is a person, what comprises of a person. In that way, they'll be able to come up with policies that will be able to help people in terms of understanding themselves and coming out of the challenges that they face. So, policy, implementation, and structures that will be able to help us be able to address the challenges that people are facing now. COVID-19 has brought out clearly that we are not prepared to face this kind of situation, that we have ignored other aspects of a human being, which are critical in somebody having a fully functional life.
And thank you, viewer, for being in tune. We continue talking about what is affecting us most, especially during this time of the new normal. So, yes.